Well, shalom. We're back. We find ourselves in the new year, 2022. This is the beginning of the year on the Gregorian calendar. And usually around this time of the year, people, they make resolutions. So I don't know what your resolution is, but, stick with it, because sometimes we give up on them. Well, I'm back here with Sister Keisha, my brother Rick, and this is part 2 of our series on fathers. We're in desperate need of our fathers in our community to, make some adjustments. I'm gonna read a few statistics for you. On November 26th, the news declared a tie of 245 murders from the previous year of 2020. And I don't know if y'all heard that, but as of November 26th, we tied our record for the last year's murders, okay? Now, as of January the 1st of 2022, the news reported and recorded a breaking year for murders, and that number was 271. So there's 271 murders that happened in Indianapolis, Indiana last year altogether. And I did the math, it was 26 more murders than it was the previous year. I didn't do the percentage wise, but that looks like a lot. Plus, it was over 1,000 people shot. So these are the ones who were shot, but they didn't die from their wounds. And over 90% of the people that were shot and murdered are both in the both 90s, 90% were black fatalities, with over 67% of unsolved murders. So out of 1,000 people being shot last year, 271 of them succumbed to the injuries, and the rest of them, which was a percentage of 67, were unsolved murders. So what I want to know is, real quick, how in the world are there 67% of murders with a high 90% of our people being murdered? How is this possible, Rick?
It's the plague that's plaguing our community. Honestly, if you're talking about why these things are happening, why is it that we're dealing with them? Mm-hmm. Until people, really start looking and start valuing black lives.
Right.
You know what I mean? Until black people start valuing black lives, man, we're going, when you have no regard for your brother's life, mm-hmm. you're quick to take it just like that. You're going to get these statistics. It's just what it is. You're talking about a society that has been structured in a way mm-hmm. for us to be
destructive
to ourselves. Yeah, exactly.
It hadn't always been that though, right? Wait, Rick? Mm-hmm. When I grew up, I didn't see any of this stuff.
Well, you didn't see the systematic things that was put in place as you was growing up. Those wasn't our problems. You see what I'm saying? But you have seen the effects of as you grew up.
I see it now, yes.
You see the effects of the things that was put in place then and how it affects our community now, right?
Right.
You also see how it affects the mindset of the people in the community. The mindset changed.
Right.
We went from neighborhoods who cared. Like, I speaking for myself, I'm 45 years old. When I was a kid, I couldn't do too much in my neighborhood without it getting back to my mom, because everybody in the neighborhood
know
my
mama.
You see what I'm saying? They know who child, and it was just like that. And if the person was close enough to your family,
they got you. So you were scared of your mama, huh? That's not a bad thing. I'm gonna get Keisha in here. Keisha, I want to bring you on this because a third of these murders was women. Mm. It was a time where women and kids were off the table.
Yep,
but not anymore.
There was a time when it was like that. Now,
so why are the women getting popped?
Well, In some cases, it depends on what she's surrounding herself with.
Right.
When you surround yourself with certain people and certain environments, you can put yourself at risk, whether you're doing something or not.
Right.
Or it could be, due to other people's activity around you. When other people do things, every action has a reaction. So if you're with somebody who does things that could get a car shot up or get a door kicked in or whatever, that's what's happening. And nowadays, it's different. It used to be no women and no kids. That went out the window.
Yeah.
I think this generation is a little different. They don't have a regards for life at all. Not women, not children, not any.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't there a pregnant woman shot this year?
I believe there was a few pregnant women shot. So they don't care. The people that are doing these things either just don't care, or specifically targeting people for specific reasons, or just recklessly killing, and they don't care who else is being affected by the bullets, because the bullets don't have a name on it. So if you go in a public place and shoot up the place because you mad at such and such for whatever reason, you didn't kill people that don't got nothing to do with what you have going on, which is, sometimes when women and children get involved. It just all depends on what's going on. And then you have some neighborhoods too. Some neighborhoods, you can live in a neighborhood where there's shots fired every day, and you can't help where you live, depending on what's going on in your life. You can't help. You trying to get up, go to work, take care of your kids, make sure your kids are straight, and bullets flying all through the neighborhood, hitting kids while they're sleeping in their beds, hitting women while they're sleeping. It's just a lot of factors that go into it. What
do you think the number one factor is, though? Tell me why are these people killing each other?
I think there's just no respect and no regard for life. Like Rick said, it's our generation, not even the generation, our people, our community is praising things and promoting things that have no respect for life. Even in the music. We talked about music last time. So it's time, people have to start thinking, and people have to start making decisions. You can't go out and shoot up. Why are you shooting up a place where people are partying? Why are you shooting up a place where there's more than whoever it is you beefing with? If you have beef with somebody, take it wherever you need to take it to, so that there's not innocent people that are celebrating their birthdays or celebrating anniversaries, trying to eat dinner or whatever's going on, and they get shot up. So it's just reckless killings. It's reckless crimes. It's just it's no respect for life. That's just what it is. I don't care who's in there. I'm shooting up the place. That's the mentality. And some situations, depending on what's going on, some situations, people feel like they're justified. In that they feel like it's justified to do those things. So it's just all about who you are and what your mind is about. Because I don't know, it just seems reckless. If I have a problem with somebody, I hope to never have to get to the point where I have to take somebody's life. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time,
y'all were in a situation not too long ago.
We were, and that was a situation. Unfortunately, if things would have escalated more deeply, I probably would have had to use my weapon. I do carry a weapon. I'm a licensed carrier and everything. As a woman, I have 3 kids. I travel. I go places. And I feel like being single women, you are targeted nowadays. So women are being targeted too. A lot of people, like criminals around Christmas time, you see it on the news. Somebody snatching an old lady's purse, dragging her. Why are you snatching a 70-year-old woman's purse? Why?
Easy dollar.
Okay, bruh. It's even if it's about an easy dollar, you can do it a little differently than that, bruh. Seriously, you don't gotta drag a woman, break their whole hip, mess up their left side because you're trying to steal what she got in her purse. And 9 out of 10, older people don't even carry certain things, so you're not gonna be able to even get the money that you're trying to get. So you look stupid.
You get a coin purse.
Don't get me. Yeah, you gonna no. It's just it's reckless. I think it's reckless. I really do. I just think it's based on recklessness. People are being reckless and they don't care.
Before we end this, go to the next, and I got you. The next subject. Last time we talked about surface issues, and and I asked a group of people to come because I know these people. I know you guys. I know how you think, and I know you're saying what I'm saying. But we dealt with the surface issues. But let's for a moment here, Rick, deal with the subliminal issues. And I just want you to briefly talk about how is slavery the mindset of slavery? How do we connect these two?
Oh, social engineering.
Yes, social engineering.
That's pretty much what it is. You know what I mean? Social engineering. A lot of things that we didn't see coming into it, and the slavery mindset. Mm-hmm. What I'm saying is, you know, a lot of our movements in the 60s and the 70s were about becoming equal to or being accepted within this certain society.
You can speak freely.
I don't want to speak too freely because I want to watch my mouth.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
So when I seem hesitant in what I'm saying is because, you know, I get passionate about what I'm saying.
And, you know, as we do.
And I don't want to.
I respect.
I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna help you here. You know, when you think about slavery, in you know, the black woman never needed the black man for anything. She went to her white slave master.
Okay.
This is where we want to start.
Okay. So for me, I come to learn a few things about slavery that most people don't really consider.
True.
Right.
But I want you connected. I want you connected with
a lot of things. So when we connecting these things to slavery, you're already connecting to a fact that somebody. First off, our definition of slavery. What is slavery? What do we look at slavery? Because most people
not free.
Most people would think of slavery as forced slave, somebody who came off of a slave ship and was brought here to work in some plantation, and you was beat with some whips, and you was, and the true reality of our situation was not always that situation.
Right.
No, I'm not saying there's not a small amount of people that went through that, right? But when you talk in terms of slavery was a classification of work.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you gotta put it in its proper context. You see what I'm saying? A lot of people became indentured servers to claim land.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? A lot of their lands was taken away from them. You see what I'm saying? For
they were played out of the land.
They were played out of their land, and then promised a piece of their land if they worked a certain amount of time, and then never received compensation.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So when we say slavery, we got to be particular on what we talking about.
Right.
If you're saying that the slave mentality, this Willie Lynch mentality, a lot of that programming came later on in life. A lot of us are dealing with the programming that came from school systems that you find out that wasn't necessarily true. You know, in order to abide
now,
by.
are you saying that the school system isn't set up to fail?
Oh yes.
Okay.
Our United States school system is not built on anything truthful.
Right.
Let's be 100%. It's not built on anything truthful. It doesn't teach you anything tangible as far as how to survive, how to take care of yourself. The very classes that they used to put in to give you, they take those out of school, and then they social engineer you to work, to be a slave, not to own your own business. But and that's not saying you got certain private schools who push this situation.
Right.
But those are the people who can afford to send their kids to private school and teach them a different way of thinking.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Public school systems are set up to engineer workers.
Slaves.
So when we're talking about slavery, we're now more modern day slaves than we ever were then.
Right. Look at your prison system.
Exactly.
Slavery, you know.
Exactly.
And but I wanted you to connect though to you know, and even how, you know, the slaves were beaten. You know, think about, you know, some of the beatings we got. You know, our parents were frustrated with us. You know, and that comes down through their heritage. You know.
Let's address that.
Oh yeah.
Let's address that. Right. How many people do you know in your family has any recollection of anybody being beat? Or see that's the power of the story.
Right.
Right, the power of the lie. You know, you do have people, and you can't take away. You do have situations to where there were slaves that were beat.
That's the first thing that my son recognized in the Smithsonian. Daddy, what's wrong with that guy's back? You know.
Right. But you got to understand the images that's being showed to you. Right. This is a story that was brought down through our school systems. You know what I mean? And it speaks of the great white man that was able to conquer and beat black people in a way that
I think it instills fear.
Yeah, to act, when that necessarily wasn't the way for everybody.
Right.
And most of the people who we consider to be slaves, who more along the line of sharecroppers or indentured servers.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Were not beat.
No.
They wasn't beaten for to be in that position. They wasn't treated in that manner of way. And so that's why, like I said, you have a small amount, right? And these stories are perpetrated and blown up so big to make it seem like that it was that in the whole for everybody. Right? And it wasn't. It's really to take you away from the stealing of your land and who was actually the real property owners of that land, right? If you believe that you was a slave brought from Africa, from another region, and put here, then you are never gonna come back to claim the land that your family once farmed.
Oh, they're coming back and claiming it, buddy.
Oh, a lot of people are. A lot of people are really finding out who we are and what this slavery thing is.
Speaking of land, you know, what's the vice president's name?
Camilla.
She just gave the Indians like $30 billion.
More reparations.
Yeah, more reparations. You know,
more reparations.
So yeah,
but what Indians did she give it to?
I'm not for sure. I just see Indian on here.
I guarantee you, it was not black tribes. I guarantee you that it was all the 5 recognized tribes. The 5 you got to.
Can you name them? A couple of them.
Can I name them? Cherokee.
Blackfoot.
I don't know. Here we can pull because I don't want to ever put out.
Well, no, just name.
I can pull up. You know.
Well, we don't want you to pull up. You know, we're just you know. But you know, go ahead and connect the slavery thing with you know, our people and how that has affected.
Well, like I said, you let somebody else teach you the history outside of your family's history.
Right.
Let's be 100. If most of us go into our family history, you know, I'm talking about Black Americans. You know, you'll look and find out that you have some kind of Indian.
We all do.
You go back to some great grandmama was some kind of Indian or something. People say
Cheyenne,
that
Cherokee,
as a joke,
Blackfoot.
but that's real truth.
Apache.
People also got to get a clear view of what Indian was. Right. A lot of people think that Indian was this Mongoloid type or what you see now as modern day Indians. You know this, and true enough, they were. What we consider the 5 recognized tribes, and you know how light they are, and you know.
Right.
But you got to realize that Indians was not of that nature. As a matter of fact, if you follow official record and classification changes, what you call the American Negro was considered the American Indian.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So it was just title changes. You went from Indian to Negro to Black.
Right.
I mean, Indian to Negro to Black to African American back to Black. That's pretty much how.
But it is your job to teach your children your history. Because I came home one day, I said, Daddy, you know, I didn't know this taught me history. He said, that ain't how it is. He said, I'm gonna teach you, but don't go back, you know.
Exactly.
I'm gonna teach this, you know, because I'm gonna
exactly
teach you,
because
you learn.
Because then within a curriculum, you have to learn it the way they teach it,
right?
You know, or you fail.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
And every teacher I had was white. I'm like, why is always white, you know, teachers teaching us about us? And it didn't make sense to me. But it is your responsibility.
Because we allowed them to. See, here's the thing. We started letting those who know the least about you teach you about you.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's funny because most black people trust the word of white people over a black person. You know what I mean?
Who actually experienced it,
Who actually experienced it. You know what I mean? A lot of us came home and told our parents that they were slaves.
But whoever wins the war,
You know what I mean?
but whoever wins the war gets to
20
control the narrative. We're gonna have her read the scripture real quick, and we'll go from there. Then we'll go from there. Okay. I like that right there. So that sounds like our society today. What's the next verse say?
By swearing and lying and killing and stealing, committing adultery, they break out, and blood toucheth blood.
See, all these things are taking place way back when. Nothing's new under the sun. Keep reading.
Therefore shall the land mourn, and every one that dwelleth therein shall languish with the beasts of the field and with the fowls of heaven.
Keep going.
The fishes of the sea shall be taken away. Yet let no man strive nor reprove another, for thy people are as they that strive with the priest.
Okay. Now here's the thing. Nobody's even trying to correct nobody, because this is normal. Confusion is normal. Murder's becoming normal. Molestation and rape in this society is normal. Not waking up, finding your children that are being taken from you are normal. Keep reading.
Started fearing other people's kids. That's what happened.
Therefore,
you don't wanna put yourself in a situation.
Shall thou fall in the day, and the prophet also shall fall with the night, and I will destroy thy mother.
Okay. Keep reading.
My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge.
Stop right there. So this is what the Most High is saying. My people, okay? It's your responsibility to know who his people are, okay? I'm not going to go into that. But it's your responsibility to find out who his people are. They're destroyed for lack of knowledge. Even today, the statistics I just read you describes his people. How do we keep getting ourselves in this situation? He gets us out of it. But somehow we go right back to the vomit. Keep reading.
Because thou hast rejected knowledge. I will also reject thee. Thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God. I will also forget thy children.
Stop right there. He said, because you've forgotten my law,
I have forgotten you.
I've forgotten your children. Okay.
Your children.
Look at the crime that's been perpetrated against children. Our criminals and our murderers and molesters and rapers getting younger and younger because we've rejected his law. So I'll ask you this. Okay. Now, would you say that our children pretty much, when they're growing up, they're watching us? We are their examples?
We should.
Okay.
Be. Your kids should, main focus should be on you and
Right.
and the representations that you put forth. Because if you leave that to anything else, you never know what your kid's gonna pick up.
Okay. I want you to read this one and this one, and just expound on it briefly.
Okay.
And I got you a couple too.
Right.
7 things a son needs from his father.
Okay.
And the one you want me to read here is he needs you to love his mother.
And why is that?
Well,
Why does your son need to see you love his mother?
family dynamic is important.
Uh-huh.
Like I said, your kids learn everything from you. So if
What we see is you beating your wife.
then they become a product of the environment
There you go.
of what they see. So if your son, it could go either one or two ways. He could either turn direct opposite of you and resent you for the things that you did to his mama.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Or he can still resent you and turn into that same exact monster. You see what I'm saying? So it's
Monster.
Yeah.
ultimately, if you're putting hands on your child's mother in front of your child, you then transformed into the monster.
Right.
No matter what your justifications is or how you feel, the fact of the matter is, we are representation. We are the biggest
agree.
representation for our kids.
I agree.
And
Now,
so-
what if you have the mother's boyfriend that is not his child, and he sees his mother's getting jumped on by the boyfriend?
Okay. Different situation.
Okay.
And it depends on the man and you have to know your situation. I myself, I've always I have a son. I have a son with another person besides my wife.
Right.
That long before my wife. And even though me and his mom on a lot of occasions never saw eye to eye, right? there was no way that I was ever in vicinity or reach that you could put your hands on my son's mother, because ultimately that affects my son. And clearly, if you feel free to put your hands on her, sooner or later you'll put your hands on my child. And then we have a whole nother situation that most people don't want to go with.
But yeah,
that's when reckless killing starts.
That's when reckless killing.
But yeah, no, let's be honest. This is the same scenario I set up every day.
So I've had and you're talking about my child's mother who's how can I put this lightly? Who's has her way, right? That sometimes makes somebody want to go upside her head.
Right. They made a song about that. Say, ooh, upside your head.
But you talking about the household that my son is in, right?
Well, that's just a scenario. I'm saying it.
You know, you talking. I know because I've dealt with this.
Right.
You know, I've dealt with this, and I've had to fix a situation to where even though me and her don't see eye to eye.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? It's
for your child's benefit.
It's for my child's benefit. You know what I mean? And it's crazy because that situation went away. And then
I bet you did go away.
Hold on. And then 10 years later came back.
Oh, came back.
10 years later came back.
Well, somebody want to handle their business if it came back.
Nope, I'm never.
No. She started messing around with the guy 10 years later.
The same one?
The same guy.
Oh, the same guy.
Yeah.
Page 63 of Pastor Ron's book. But go on to the next one because we got to get you there.
Okay.
I'm not.
Okay.
They never come back.
But you talking a situation now where you're not in my vicinity. You're now in Florida, far away, right? And you allowed this person to come to Florida.
Oh my God!
You know what I mean?
Everybody.
10 years later.
Ain't learned nothing though.
Reckless killing.
You know.
Let me ask Keisha. Keisha, does some women like to be beat and mistreated? They don't feel like they love them?
I don't believe that people like to be beat. I feel that some women may attract certain type of guys. I also think sometimes your upbringing has something to do with that as well, depending on what type of environment you grew up in. For men and women, not just women, for men and women. If you grew up in an environment where you saw that, if you're not careful, you may repeat those same type of behaviors or put yourself in those same type of behaviors without even realizing.
The little girl is watching her mother, and she thinks this is normal.
Yeah.
And you're being trained to be abused, don't even know it.
I want to speak on that because I found myself in a situation, right? And I don't want to speak no names because person was good friend.
Right.
But I found myself in a situation where a person that I was dating felt like you didn't love them unless you put hands on them. Like it was. I know.
Did
like
she
that.
tell you that or
out her mouth?
Oh wow.
Out her mouth, and I'm not the one that's gonna be fighting with you. You know what I mean? And
I guess it depends on the
you ain't
woman.
smacked me in 3 days.
I guess
what's wrong with you?
I guess it's the woman.
But you have people who love submission, who loves that type of
dysfunction.
I
watched
my mother go through things like that for years, and it was with my father, my biological father.
And you never intervened.
She did not. Oh, I intervened a lot, which I'm not. I'm a fighter. Any man touch me, we gonna bump.
Yeah.
Can we verify that?
And that's hard with your father.
We're gonna fight, bro.
With your
don't put
father?
your hands on me and don't come at me like you gonna.
Mr. Producer, can we verify that?
The person that's supposed to protect your whole situation. Yeah. See, that's when it gets.
This is when some people become. Some people, like he just said, I've never heard of a woman that actually enjoyed it or thought it was love.
Yeah.
Me personally, no. I've always been a fighter, even with my mama.
Yeah.
I would help her, even knowing that's my daddy.
And see, some people, I guess that affects people a different way. Here's the thing, though. I don't think the person that I'm speaking of, mom. Well, I don't know what she went through.
Yeah, we don't know.
I don't know what they went through younger.
Something.
But her mom at that time was not that woman that you gonna put your hands on.
You're not gonna put your hands.
This is generational.
So
This is
I don't
generational.
understand where that came from in her. You know what I mean? But that
You'd be
was
surprised.
But that was her thing, and like I said, and we couldn't be together because of that. I'm not, I don't somebody who would try to aggravate you, to escalate you to a point where instead of just getting along, like you know what I mean?
Okay, but what if it's not that? What if in her situation, I don't know exactly what she went through.
It's trauma.
It's trauma, but at the same time, like no woman wants to be abused. I don't care what no person likes that. Nobody wants to have to walk around.
She
and have
told
to
me I
cover
was
up
soft
their
because
face.
I wouldn't hit her.
That means that she got something else going on.
Shit, yeah. I would have to say
going
that
on.
she pretty much we had
what she's seen growing up.
because you got to understand. You got to understand.
But
These things would come from out the. You talking about somebody who we got along. We was good friends. Like we got along great. But then these things will come out the blue. And so when you try to get to the bottom of what's really going on, because I'm not, I'm too laid back. I'm too easy to be. My tolerance for men and for men is a lot less than it is for women and children. You know what I mean? I pretty much.
Clearly, she's the weaker vessel, and a lot of women are victimized. This victimization goes all the way back to slavery.
Yeah,
that's where it stems from.
You can't tell,
but
you can't tell
Massa. You see this people,
and she had to do what she had to do to keep her family together.
Submission, the binding, like and I don't want to generalize people, right? Because there's black and white people, but you got a lot of people who likes to be controlled.
And you got a lot of people that like
you don't love
controlling.
Oh, you don't love them.
So that's just a whole bunch of. It's just a bunch of.
For me, controlling is a form of insecurity, though.
It is
absolutely.
But
you know what I mean?
Let's go on to 3.
Okay.
Because we
got
three. We gotta get over here.
3.
You want me to read 3?
No,
you said.
I want you to do this.
You did 4.
I want you to do.
You said 4 and 7.
Yeah, I want you to do that one. Yeah, do that one.
Okay. He needs you to discipline him in love.
Okay. We were not disciplined in love with stitching cords. That's not love.
I thought it was love.
That was love.
I mean.
Taught you how to act right. He taught you how to obey, don't he?
For a little while.
Obey for a
Didn't
little
want
bit.
that
That's why
woman,
they
though.
looking, right?
There you go.
I've never been one that got beat with a stitching cord, but I had a switch too. And them switches was just as bad as the stitching cord.
3 switches braided.
Oh, yes, Lord.
Yeah, that's some learned.
No, hold on, wait a minute. Whooping. See, I don't see these trees no more, but I'm talking weeping willow trees.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the ones with the whips? Oh, no.
Yeah, slavery.
But we were not. Here's the thing: they raised us how they were raised, and I found out that after the second child, because the first child was like the guinea pig. They are because you've never done it before. You've never done it before.
That's true.
The other ones, you just told them what to do. The first child, you gave them 10 commandments: don't do this, don't get high, don't have people. You tell them what and they do everything you tell them not to do.
Is what they do.
They want to do it, Mm-hmm. And so that didn't work, So I told the next child and my daughter, this is what you can do, And they didn't run to it because there's something about telling a child not to do something,
See, here's the thing. It's not more of what not. See, and I do this actively with my nephew, right? My sister is raising a brilliant child. He's a smart kid. He's 5 and he's reading and math at like a 4th grade
I heard about this kid
level.
a lot.
You know what I mean? Smart guy.
Yes.
Right. It's not so much what you have, because kids understand a lot more than what you do, and it's more about example. Right. Like what I'm saying is, you raise a kid that likes to clean up. How do you raise that kid to you include them while they're kids? When they in that learning stage, they want to
teach them.
They want to do what mom and dad is doing.
My kids don't like tearing up.
Instead of sitting your kids down or doing it, because a lot of parents, they get into the mode of doing things themselves, get it done, get it out of the way, because you got so much other things on your plate that you got to do, right? But ultimately, and this goes with training your kids, you know what I mean, and how to be, the things they not supposed to do, and the things, if you actively doing things with them, and
there's the point. Not telling them what to do.
Not telling
But
them,
showing.
Yeah.
but showing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like I said, you their biggest role model. So you can't give them one command and then you turn around and be doing it. They gonna shoot. As soon as you're not around, they gonna do exactly what the other thing they see you do.
My
You know what I'm saying?
my son this day has my jump shot. You know, I taught him that jump shot. I'm pretty proud of myself.
That's
But I'm gonna go give it here, and we'll come
Okay.
back. Here you go.
Number 3, right? He needs your servant leadership.
Okay, what is servant leadership? You got a couple boys, so you know what I'm talking about.
You may or may not be a boss at work. You may or may not be a pastor or minister at a church. You may or may not be a leader in your community, but you are a leader of your family. Your son needs to see your true leadership in your home. He needs to see you leading by serving. He sees you leading by serving. He will better understand leadership and will be able to more effectively lead versus follow his peers. As he grows, he will lead his family, lead at work, lead at church, and lead in his community. I believe that is facts.
Give me some examples how you've led your children, and you know this fact.
I teach my children how to cook, how to clean, how to learn. Well, I won't say how to learn, but help them with their learning.
Let me ask you: do you teach them to clean as you go when you're cooking?
Yes.
I teach my kids,
teach my
clean as you go. So when
clean
you're
as
done,
you
you're
go.
done.
Now my daughter, she doesn't follow that rule, but my sons, I will say my son, my youngest son, he doesn't cook yet, but
Right.
my 12-year-old, he loves cooking. He stands over me while I cook. Like he watches me. He wants to know what's going on.
Start the young one off in the microwave with noodles.
Yeah, that's what they. You know, they all know how to do
Yeah.
noodles. They love noodles, but yeah, they start off with that. But yeah, my two oldest know how to cook very well. My youngest, he's 7 and he's the baby, so he doesn't do that yet. But
they're watching you.
But yeah, they know.
watching.
They know. They stand over me while I cook. They know. Okay, at the end of the day, is it done yet? I'm hungry. I'm starving. You gonna stand up like, boy, get out my face. Let me get done with the stuff.
Yeah.
And they actually enjoy it. They enjoy being a part of it.
Yeah.
And it teaches them when they get older, to do for themselves. Be able to cook your own meals. Be able to take care of yourself.
But they need somebody to watch to see how things are going. Now, why in our society we glorify the wrong things? Why does every kid want a gun for Christmas? I ask my grandsons, that's all they want is guns. No, I want a gun.
That's true.
Everything's been glorified. The wrong thing's been glorified.
Absolutely. The wrong things are being glorified. Not only that, our kids, this generation has way more access to information and media and all of that than we did.
Right.
Should we be teaching our kids about guns, or should we be teaching them away from guns?
We should be teaching them how to use them.
How to do things safely and to protect the home, like bear arms, bear arms, not go shoot up a place where there's random people sitting having coffee.
I learned about guns the wrong way. Right. I don't want my child to learn about guns the wrong way. You know what I mean? That's a page that I took from others. They always 20 minutes. They always educate. They take their kids hunting. A lot of people get rifles.
And show their kids how to do it. Yeah,
right.
My son learned to shoot.
12 years out and should learn how to.
That's a good age. Clinton, they had a National Rifle Association thing to teach parents weapon awareness. Because a lot of kids were shooting their siblings and stuff, and they didn't know what it was. But if you tell them what it is, if you leave it out, they know what it is.
If you teach your kids about weapons, and then you teach your kids to respect the lives of others,
yes.
Especially those that share your same skin, because you got to understand the plight that we in, right? Nobody's going to respect us, or we in a situation where we are right on the cusp of change. You know what I mean? Where we really can do some big things right now. Where a lot of people is coming together and realizing economically how we need to impact ourselves and all that. But all that goes out the window when you got senseless killing of black people. And then here's the thing: most of the people that's killing black people will never pull their gun on a white person.
But don't we see this in Boys in the Hood,
Crazy.
Minister Society?
Crazy.
You know, this is who's teaching our kids and stuff. You know,
Yeah.
Real quick, you know, I remember maybe 2 years ago, me and Elder Anthony, his brother, his son, and I had Zeke with me. You know, and we were passing out shotguns. You know, Zeke for some reason thought he was gonna get one. You know. I said, dog, you know, you just watch. He was about 12, you know, I'm about 13, 14, you know. And, you know, even later on, I found out he knew more guns about his dad, you know. Because, you know, they have videos out there that shows you all these things. Tell you how to put the gun together, how to take it apart, you know.
Yeah.
Come learn, this guy can break down, and, you know, he know more than me about guns. But, you know, the point is they have all this information right there on the hands, you know.
And mental health plays a part in it too.
And mental health plays a part in it.
Say it again.
I'm gonna say that mental health plays a part in it
does.
too, because
It does.
this is a movie that I watched, and it was about a young man whose father was very successful. He was very knowledgeable. He had access to all type of things. Like he had a Nazi collection. He read certain books at the age of 9, and he ended up growing up being a spoiled killer. Okay,
Spoiled killer.
and he ended up killing his father.
What was it called?
What's the name of that movie?
Well, think about it. You know,
I can't even think of the name of it, but in this specific movie, the guy was actually intellectual, but he didn't fit in with his classmates because he was reading and getting knowledge of things at such a young age. He didn't fit in, so he started. He was already crazy, basically. He was crazy, and mental health. That's why I say mental health, because people with mental health issues shouldn't be carrying weapons.
Right, I agree with that. Go ahead and read your last one, and we're gonna take a quick break.
5. Okay, ready? He needs your love regardless of his choices. You may be the biggest sports junkie. Not living in Bristol. They're funny. Okay. And your son may not be able to kick a ball if you place it on his toe, nor care that he can't. No matter what choices your son makes, he needs you to love him, even if they are different from yours. Even when they are wrong choices. Your love and guidance will open the door to trust and acceptance that build your relationship, and it will build his self-esteem.
And before you make comment, these questions really cater to fathers, you know. But from a woman perspective, you know, you have daughters.
It's very important on both sides, especially for your sons. My sons feel differently than my daughter.
Right.
And she feels differently than my son. So it's kind of like balancing out. You have to figure out what their needs are and figure out how to teach them with, you know, through their specific preferences.
Why? Because they're gonna be men one day.
Yeah, they're gonna be men.
And you only got so much time to get them ready for marriage.
And you don't want them growing up and just be misled, because then you're gonna have some problems.
I think that's the overall premise of this discussion. Like, it's really being present fathers. If you're a present father, you'll be able to mold more aspects of your child's life. You know, and that just don't mean going to work and provide.
Absolutely.
That means coming home and literally spending time with your kids, knowing your kids,
and respecting the mother too.
And
we're gonna take a quick break. We'll be right back. So if you ever been down in the dumps and ever messed up, you know, you have to humble yourself. The first thing we have to do, we have to humble ourselves. Okay? And the second thing we have to do is hear. We have to listen and say, why am I in this situation? You know, but I want you to remember 2 Chronicles chapter 7, verse 14. Read it yourself. We're living in some interesting times, and I'll say anything's possible. I'm not one to tell people what they can do. Well, you know, that's our time right here. You know, I thank you, Rick. Thank you, brother. Thank you, sister. You know, shalom.